Am I the hole for telling my biological mother that I will never see her as my real mom because my dad's wife is the only mother figure I want and need? I, 16F, got in trouble last week at a family get-together with my dad, 40. S side of the family because I was considered as too disrespectful to the woman who birthed me, 40, and that I should give her a little bit more of compassion because life was already hard on her. She, let's call her Anna, tried to brag about me and my siblings, 16M and 14F, school performances in front of everyone and said that even if her kids were stolen from her, it would always be clear who their mother is because of their intelligence. I found it incredibly rude because this woman never bothered to raise us. When her and my dad broke up, me and my twin brother were 4, and our youngest sister was 2. She disappeared for a couple of months before starting to co-parent with my dad. I was still young, and my memories of the early stages might not be the clearest, but what was clear was that it was horrible for everyone. She would never follow the agenda, sometimes not dropping us back to our dad in time, or not being there when my dad needed to drop us off. And she had that boyfriend of hers that always laid on the couch in front of the TV drinking or smoking. My siblings and I always hated it, and when she and her boyfriend started to beat us to correct us, it only made us hate her too. Around the time I was 8, our father finally got full custody. When I was around 6 or 7, my father introduced me and my siblings to his girlfriend, Imani, 37. She was and is always kind, calm, and soft-spoken. It was easy for us to love her because she never tried to forcefully insert herself into our lives, but at the same she stepped up for us as a mom. She never forced or even hinted towards any type of physical contact and waited for us to be comfortable enough to go towards her. She dropped us off at birthday parties, helped us pick the presents, organized hangouts, learned to cook our favorites traditional dishes for when we were down, baked all kind of pastries, went to parent-teacher meetings, with the authorization of my dad who would always ask us beforehand if we wanted her to, helped us with school homeworks, got to the nearest shop to buy the materials for our forgotten last-minute schools projects, got us tutors, and even encouraged us to learn new languages since she is herself polyglot. She always acted like a mom without expecting us to treat her like one, even if we ended up doing so either way. But even when Imani was so kind and respectful, my dad's side of the family, mostly my grandparents and my aunt, never reciprocated the kind feelings. They were always rude, making jokes about her, and tried to talk my siblings and I into hating her. It failed anyways. I mostly think that they wanted to keep the family tree consistent, and that we're all 100% Chinese while Imani is 100% Congolese. My grandparents always complain about how we should always marry Chinese persons to keep the family tree clean. I started to despise them too when they said that. They would even go as far as inviting Anna to family gatherings under the excuse that she is my aunt's best friend and an indirect daughter for my grandparents, but they would still try to put her next to my dad at the expense of Imani. Last week it was the same thing again. We had a gathering with everyone at my grandparents' place, my dad's siblings, their spouse, their kids, and Anna. We weren't a lot. We were first separated in 2 groups, the adults and the kids, and from the garden we could hear and see that the living room was already getting heated with my dad and Aunt having an argument, but since it was always like that, no one really paid it any mind. When it was time to eat, my grandparents tried to get my siblings and I to sit next to our bio mom. We refused and sat next to our mom instead. Then, during the meal, Anna started to brag about our grade and how we were all the equivalent to straight A students thanks to her genetics. My dad got upset and corrected, saying that if Imani wasn't there it wouldn't be the case, to which my aunt replied that it was wrong because everyone in the family was smart and that Imani's times and efforts were barely necessary. At this point my siblings and I were pissed, but since Imani just told us to calm down and that it was fine, we kept quiet. But then Anna said that if Imani hadn't snatched us away from her back, then we would have been even smarter under her care. My brother angrily replied that even when we were in elementary school, she never bothered to check our homeworks, and that it wasn't hard to see who was the most responsible one between the two of them. My father seemed amused. My aunt, grandparents, and aunt looked pissed. The rest were awkward, but Imani was simply getting disappointed that the calm couldn't be kept. We tried to not say anything more, but Anna just had to try and have the last words by dragging subjects that weren't supposed to be a joke into the conversation. She said that instead of trying to parent other people's kid, Imani should focus more on fixing the trashy mess that her country is and stop taking us there during the holidays. Imani stayed silent while Anna talked before saying that she wasn't interested in having disrespectful, tactless, and dumb conversation with a fool, and said that she'll go back home and wait for us to come back. But as soon as she got up, my dad, siblings, and I followed. When Anna tried to make us stay because we should stay close with our real mom, I snapped and told her that she will never be my mom because I'll never allow someone as mean and dumb to influence me that way, and that at least Imani was a good role model and the only mom me and my siblings needed. When we got back home, Imani didn't talk about this anymore, but told us it was fine, and that those kind of things didn't matter to her. By the end of the day, my grandparents and aunt texted us and called us to say that we, especially I, were too harsh on our poor mom, and that losing custody of all three of us was already hard enough for her to bear. So, am I the a-hole? Sorry for the long story or the mistakes. English isn't my first language at all.